Hello guys, hello, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys have been well. Today we are going to be reading 3 fantasy books that I picked out from booktok that are raging fires in how popular they are. Oh my goodness.
But no, Reese is biggest of the mamas, bro. What's going on?
Oh my god. So I'm going to show you one by one the books that I chose out, and then we're going to have a wheel picker, choose which one I start first, and then we're going to do a little reading vlog. I'm going to share my thoughts with you guys, and I'm going to see if these are worth the hype and whether I should continue since they're all part of a series. So the first book that I picked out on the radar is A Court of Thorns, and you're probably asking, how the hell have you not started reading this? Guys, I'm late to the party. I saw this in my local Barnes and Nobles, and it had the black cover. Like, this is the what is it, Night Court edition. So I was like, whoa, because usually I think the first book, the cover is red, so seeing it in black, I was like, okay, wait, maybe I will try this. And then one of my IRL friends, they posted on Instagram saying, I think they were on like the 3rd or 5th book, 3, 4, or 5 of the series, and I was like, I commented, I was like, everybody's talking about this series, should I start reading it? And she was like, yes. And I was like, okay, if I'm getting accounts from TikTok, if I'm getting accounts from my personal life, then I just have to start this series. So we have A Court of Thorns here for our first pick. That is the first book out of the 3 that I chose. The next is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I've heard so many things about this series. It's I know one of the booktubers that I follow, Jamie, she had some thoughts about this book, and I like R.F. Kuang. I read her Babel book earlier this year. I think that was in February. No, it was in January, and I really enjoyed that. I love her writing. I'm actually very excited to read it. This is probably the most excited that I have out of the 3 that I chose to read. So that is the second choice. And then last but not least, we have this humongous thing, The Raven Scholar. Guys, this is such a pretty cover. Look at this thing, guys. I saw this in my Barnes & Noble, and I was like, you know, this is already on my TBR. Why not just buy it? And I'm so glad I did, because it's such a pretty book, and purple is my favorite color, and this is such a nice shade of purple. So now we're going to consult my wheel picker, but we're going to type in all the names. So we're going to start with The Raven Scholar first, because that's what's on my eye. Can I spell scholar correctly? Hold on, guys. Scholar. There we go. The Raven Scholar, and then the next we have The Poppy War, and then next we have The Court of Thorns. Wait, what is it? What was it called? And then we're gonna spin. Okay. They've made their choice. It looks like The Poppy War won, guys. I guess we're gonna do The Poppy War first. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all, actually. I'm gonna take you guys and read with me today because I have a lot of things to do. But first, we need to go get coffee. I'm gonna go over to my city's main library, and we're gonna read and we're gonna study because I have an exam next week. Final season is upcoming, so we need to lock in. And I'm going to also satiate my reading addiction as well. So let's go get coffee first, and then let's go settle down at the library, and then we can start reading The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Okay, I'm on page 19 of The Poppy War, and I just want to say one thing that is very tricky with fantasy books in particular is the world building that they dump on you in like the first 50 pages. I would really appreciate if more fantasy books were gradual in their world building, because when you have to learn the entire universe of the book in like 50 pages, it's so tedious, it's so tiring, and you're like, oh my goodness. And that's what I'm going through right now. But I always get through it regardless. And I know R.F. Kuang can deliver a nice book. So I'm going to trust her. I'm just going to let her dump all this info on me, and I'm going to study it, and I'm going to learn it so I know what's going on in this book. But just sometimes it's just too much, and I'm going to have to experience that 2 more times because I'm starting 2 more series after this. So God bless me. We're going to continue.
All right, hello guys, I'm back. It is a few days later. We're gonna continue reading The Poppy War. I think if we check right now, I'm on page 130, and the halfway mark is in about not the halfway mark, the 1/3 mark is in about 40 more pages. So I promised that I would kind of check in like every third of the book that I'm doing for this reading blog. So I'm not gonna dilly-dally, I'm gonna keep on reading, and then I'm gonna come and check in with you guys on the 1/3 benchmark. I have some pineapples here for my little snack. Okay, just hit page 180. We are on the brink of chapter 9. The 1/3 benchmark was around page 175, so we're just about there. I was writing notes throughout reading so that I would actually have something to talk to you guys about once I reach the benchmark. I managed to write a decent amount of stuff down. So we follow a character. Her name is Rin. I forgot her last name. Oh, her name is Rin Fang. So she's an orphan. She lives under the Fang family. They're the people who took her in, and essentially she was supposed to be slaved into marriage, right? It's the case for most of the war orphans. So obviously, who would want to be slaved into marriage? Who would want to be in an arranged marriage to a 50-year-old guy who drools when he sleeps? So to escape this fate, she decides to apply to the top school in the country, and the school's name is Sign Guard. It is a military school that trains the youth into becoming the Empress's finest soldiers, finest warriors. And this is quite literally the only way Rin can escape the fate of being pushed into an arranged marriage, right? She decides to seek out a tutor. We meet the character Tutor Feyric, and she goes through strenuous work to be able to pass this exam, essentially, to get into Sign Guard. The way that she studies for this exam is just very different. I would say that, trigger warning, that she's essentially self-harming herself. She used a trick where she would have a candle, right? And you know, when the candle melts the wax, it's really hot. So anytime her head dipped, like if she got tired, it was some kind of mechanism with rope. Like she would get burned with the hot wax, and then she would wake up and resume her studies. But it became an obsession. It became an addiction for Rin, and she continued to do it well into her when she matriculated into Sign Guard. She actually placed top in her prefecture. As I'm reading the book, like, you can definitely tell there's a social hierarchy. The wealthy are set to succeed at Sign Guard. So basically most of the children that are at Sign Guard, their parents or somebody of importance. So obviously the system is set up for them to succeed at the school. And people like Rin, they're not supposed to succeed. They're supposed to get weeded out in the first couple of months. My favorite character in this whole book is Kite. I hope I'm saying his name right. I love him. He's so cute. I love you, please don't die. Like, that's the sentiment that I have when I think of him. And also, might I say, Rin and Kite, is that a possible thing? I don't know. If I've just, based on my experience of reading like R of Kwong, Babel had very little romance, but I do love when romance is a subplot to a story. So if there is something that could happen between Kite and Rin, I pray. And I also pray that Kite does not meet some type of bad end, because I love him. Like, I love you, please don't go bald. I love you, please don't die. That's how I feel when I think of Kite. Like, that's my baby. But yeah, that's where I'm at basically. I'm gonna keep reading some more. I don't know if I can even finish these pineapples. I'm already getting the tingling feeling in my tongue. Like, it's bad. But other than that, that's all the updates I have to give you guys. I'm gonna continue reading a little bit more. I actually want to finish this book like by tomorrow, so I want to get really far. So we might be able to film the second benchmark today if I lock in and read. So I'm gonna actually turn on some ambiance on my TV so I can lock in, because I'm dedicated to finishing this book so we can move on to the next one. Okay, guys, we're back. I am just like 6 pages short of the second benchmark. I'm on page 344, just on the brink of chapter 17, and we're kind of going through this book really fast. Just like last time, I wrote down a few notes. It's going pretty good so far. I'm not like wowed, but I am enjoying it, definitely, for sure. And I'm like drawing so many like allusions to things that I've watched previously, or just certain medias that I've had the pleasure to experience, and I'm just like connecting it to the poppy war. This is giving me feelings of like Jujutsu Kaisen, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and like something else I forgot to name. So we learn a lot about Rin and her upcoming, and we learn also about more about Jiang. We learn a lot more about Altan. Through this, we also see kind of like a training arc and how like the process of summoning these gods, and essentially there's two approaches to this. We have Altan's way and we have Jiang's way. Jiang is like, let's see, let me try and find an example of what Jiang is like. In Avatar: The Last Airbender, let's say Rin is like Zuko, okay? Just so enraged and just set on one thing, right? Jiang is like Uncle Iroh, is telling, use that anger, let go of it, and become something new, become enlightened. Altan is like, what is Zuko's father's name? Fire Lord Ozai, except he's not that evil, essentially. Altan is just like, he uses his anger and he uses it as a power source. But anyway, Jiang, he is an awakened human who can call upon gods, essentially, that will give him supernatural powers. So there's multiple gods, obviously, in this verse. And for example, the god that called upon Rin is called the Phoenix, so Rin has fire powers. And there's other gods like the monkey gods, the boar god, like small river gods, essentially. And each of these gods can bestow upon their, what do I want to call these people? I'm gonna just say avatars, okay? It can bestow upon their avatars their powers. So essentially, Rin, she can control fire at will when she is able to kind of control the Phoenix's power, essentially. And Jiang, I don't know what god he has called upon, but he did something super crazy and then he disappeared. So we don't know. When they needed him most, he disappeared. The people who are able to summon the gods, their mental state is always at kind of like this place of being shattered, essentially. Like they're on the brink of going insane. Rin is very obstinate. She says, I've had a glimpse of this power before and I want more of it. And so this, now that she's just being trained by Jiang and all these things, her peers are starting to get scared of her. They don't know what's up her sleeve, right? Like, because she's an apprentice of the lore faction and nobody pledges to the lore faction. Like, it's basically like this taboo teachings, like, right? So Jiang sends her up to a mountain to go on the greatest trip of her life. And I don't mean like voyage, I mean like hallucinogenic trip. This is essentially how the people who can summon these gods essentially gain hold of their power. They go on crazy trips. I'm talking, they're taking opium, they're taking all types of drugs. There's literally a little scene where Rin and another character, she gets taken to this shop and this guy shows her like a variety of drugs that she can take, from one with the most minimal effects to one with the most maximum effects. And I'm like, I'm enjoying the book so far. I'm excited to see how it closes out. I just have about, let's say, I have a little bit under 200 pages left. So I definitely think we can finish that in the next hour or two. And then we'll come back to talk about my final thoughts on R.F. Kuang's The Poppy War.
Chat, let us talk about, well, from where I like left off from the second benchmark that I talked with you guys through. So we have Nejha. He's alive and well. He survived that crazy injury. Damn near had, somebody said his spinal cord was severed, but we find him alive and well, walking on his 2 feet as if he was never touched. And then we get to see this little banter between them. It's like the little rivalry thing that they had going on. Then, like, out of nowhere, Nejha survived? No. Nejha apologized to Rin about how he treated her, and they kind of had a little fight because Rin wasn't innocent in this little rivalry they had, right? She almost killed him in one of the tournament fights because they fought against each other. But essentially, Jiang is literally Uncle Iroh down to a T, bro. I don't know if R.F. Kuang got some inspiration from Avatar: The Last Airbender, but Jiang is literally Uncle Iroh down to a T. Like, this man can open up a passageway between the physical world and the spiritual world. Like, and then after that happens, Rin and Nejha get sent on a mission together against this mythical beast that Jiang accidentally let free into the physical world. And Rin literally says this. I had to write it down because I was like, because you guys know I love a good enemies to lovers. She said, "He was so beautiful then, standing right in the space of the road where a beam of moonlight fell across his face, illuminating one side and casting long shadows on the other." And then a little more pages after that, Nejha gets captured. We don't know if he's dead or alive. If you saw my reaction before, that was me reacting to Kite saying that Nejha is dead. I don't think he's dead. I won't take it. I won't believe it, because just when it was getting good, R.F. Kuang decided to take him away from me. Altan is just an entirely different person. We learned so much things about him. He's an opium addict. Like, we thought that he was so strong, like he was this celebrity, like he was this person to be feared and revered in the beginning of the book. Now, as this war is taking its toll on him, he's pathetic. Essentially, he's pathetic, and he's just genuinely unrecognizable from earlier times. We get Lieutenant, I'm gonna like butcher this name, Chagan? Lieutenant Chagan is back, and they call him the Seer because he can mediate between the physical world and the spiritual world for the shamans and such like that. And he's the greatest shaman there ever is currently on this planet, some sort like that. And I just got this weird feeling between Altan and Rin's relationship. First, I saw it as like older brother, like hero crush, like, you know, that syndrome, like hero crush. I thought it was something like that. Then it just kept spiraling into something way more dark. Like, I felt like he was grooming her for a plan that he had, and grooming doesn't have to be inherently sexual. He was grooming her for something that he's been planning for a while, and we just see this descent into darkness for him. And it's such a crazy thing to see him being from like this to going to this in the matter of like 100 pages. I wrote in my notes, impression that Altan is grooming Rin or looking for someone to relate to his quest of vengeance. But I was like, what ties does Rin have to anything to be so hell-bent on pledging her allegiance to him? She has no ties. She couldn't even like, well, now we can say for sure she knows she's spiritually, but for a majority of the book, she didn't even think that she hailed from that land. So it's like, how can you flip a switch so bad for a man you hardly even know, for a culture you hardly even know, for people you hardly ever know? No, like, that's where I stopped writing about my thoughts, and I was just getting more and more confused. It just felt like towards the end of the book, like this portion towards the end of the book, it just felt like I was on some type of psychedelic trip. And this book is basically about people going on psychedelic trips and hailing power from deities from the above. I was just like, what? I have no explanation for what I just read. The twist that the Empress is now the villain, it's like there's not enough grounds for her to even be the main villain for the next book. Like, right now, I don't like Rin. I don't like what is fueling her, because it just feels like a load of bullshit. Like, there's no way, like, this is your driving force. Like, it's just not believable. It's not hitting for me. It's not believable. I know there was such high regard for this book, but I'm not feeling it at all. But before I let you guys off, let's definitely do the wheel picker for the next book. Okay, good. The Raven Scholar. That's what I wanted to win anyway. So okay. The next book that we'll be picking up is The Raven Scholar. Hallelujah. Ooh, maybe I can make the decision now. Ooh. I will not be continuing with The Poppy War by Arquan. Yeah. Gonna read The Raven Scholar next. I'm super excited. I've been anticipating to read this book for weeks. But now we get to read it, and I'm gonna take you guys along with me, but it will not be tonight. But I will see you guys another day. Goodbye. Okay guys, it is the next day, and as promised, I said we were going to continue with The Raven Scholar. So this is a big book, okay? I think I counted just a bit earlier, and it has 643 pages, but the book is split into 8 parts. So without further ado, I'm going to read the first 10 pages. We're going to start a new tradition. Read the first 10 pages with you guys, and then I'll do like a thumbs up if I'm really hooked, thumbs down, or like a little in between. Okay, first 10 pages done. I'm gonna give this a thumbs up right now. I have very high hopes for this book. You see the main character, her name is Yana, and she has a twin brother named Ruko. We don't know, because usually twins in fiction, it's never a good story. So we'll see what happens here, but I'm very intrigued. I'm very excited to keep on reading. I'm gonna read some off camera, get into like some ambiance, maybe get into the mood and lock in. And let's see how long it takes me to finish this book.
All right, guys. Hello. It is a brand new day. So yesterday I went off camera, obviously, to just to read more of The Raven Scholar, and I made it to page 142, and then as intermittently I was writing down some notes. Now initially I thought, because that's what it was looking to lead up to, that Yana was going to be the main character. That's the whole premise of part 1. We learned that the Bear Emperor Sir Bursun, he is responsible for the death of Yana and Ruko's father. Their father was actually trying to overthrow the system. He was trying to form a coup. Just know that there's 8 factions, and it's with 8 animals. 7 of the factions can run for emperor or empress. The dragon faction, they always concede their right to run for emperor, empress. So after 24 years, every 24 years that happens, they choose which one. Yana and Ruko, they have a lot of ancestral ties to the Raven faction and the Tiger faction. So the father left behind some power that would allow one of his children, and he chose Yana because he favored Yana, to inherit his power and inherit his position in the Tiger faction. And Ruko was like, this was Ruko's dream, and even Yana knew this, so she was very hesitant to accept the position. She ended up accepting the position, but then it was like a loop around, and that's how the emperor found out that she was part of her father's plan when she really wasn't. She was just a kid, and he just told her what his plans were, so now she's just guilty by association. And Ruko was just like, no, there's no way that this is my dream, Yana, please give it to me. And the emperor is like, you know what, silence from you, come up here, sit on this throne, you are the emperor for 2 minutes, decide what you want to happen to your sister. And because of his greed, because of his tunnel vision view to get to the top, he exiles his sister. The situation literally just switches. We get 2 new characters introduced. Nima, which is to become the High Scholar of the Raven faction in the 8-year time skip, and we have Kane, which he's part of the Fox faction. Nima is actually the one to write Yana's exile orders, so there's the tie-in with that. And then after that, part 1 ends, the 8-year time skip. In the 8-year time skip, we learn that Ruko is the contender for the throne as the Tiger faction. Was waiting to continue this all day, so I'm not even going to dilly-dally. Let's just start freaking reading. Hello guys. It's been like 2 days since I last recorded. I was too lazy to record yesterday. I read to about page 462 and we're just on the verge of part 6. Oh, my bookmark fell out. And I have so many things to share, guys. These parts were beautiful. These parts were filled with so much lore. I just have to share each and everything with you guys. I have a lot. Like, if you just scroll, we have a lot to talk about, and I'm gonna try and make it short so I can get back to reading. We learn that Gaida is dead, okay? And Nima is suspected to be she is a high suspect because of their history and this little scene that they had during the ceremony for the contenders, right? So Nima, as there's no more Raven contenders, Nima actually takes Gaida's place as the Raven contender, and alongside that, she's also responsible for finding out who killed Gaida. She's assigned to be the detective, essentially, for this murder case, and she's allotted 4 days to find out who committed the crime. And I just also wrote that this book has very, like, satirical and blunt humor. Like, the humor, it doesn't really, there's no, like, second meanings behind any of the humor. Like, it's really just in your face like that, and it's very blunt, and it's very satirical, and I absolutely love it. I've laughed so many times reading this book. I also wrote down that Nima can see ravens, but everyone else cannot. So now we're getting into the supernatural, the really high fantasy here. Yastila, she gave birth to 3 children. We know 2 of them, Yana and Ruko, but she actually gave birth to another child, and the child is a chosen child. So she's supposed to be on the Dragon Island, and because she's not on the Dragon Island, she's suffering consequences, and I don't even know how to explain it. Like, she's constantly being burnt, and the symbols that are appearing on her skin are the eternal symbols that keep showing up in the book, whatever it means. And then, shocker, at the end of part 3, we learn the Emperor, the Bear Emperor, Burr's son, is not actually Burr's son. It's the brother. It's a fraud. His name is Gedrun, Gedrun. Well, for at least the last 8 years, the Emperor has been a fraud. He's a phony, he's a fake, okay? So then we get into part 4, and the Ravens start making themselves more known to Nima. So they're saving her in these duels to the death. They're talking to her, and at this point, up to this point, Nima is just not understanding. Like, she thinks she's going insane, essentially. But they've been trying to reach her for 8 months, as they said, and they give her a vision of Ruko as the Emperor and how all hell will break loose if Ruko is the Emperor. They show the return of all the great 8s, the great protectors, I think their names are. So the return is when 8 of those deities come back and wreak havoc on the actual the mortal realm, okay? And I also wrote down right after that, I said, I swear Cain has been touched by the fox, because there's been instances in this book where Cain's face will, like, switch, but it's only perceivable for like a split second before his face goes back to normal, where they say like his jaw like line, like his features get sharpened, his teeth get really pointy, and like all the features of a fox, essentially. I'm like, bro, there's no way. Actually, the fox deity found Cain when he was a fresh infant, fresh baby, right? And decided that to protect Cain. So Cain has been harboring this fox spirit and he didn't even know. But now the soul, like, you know, soul gave him a vision and basically a story of what happened and how the fox came to be and how the fox came to be inside of him. And now Cain is like, what the fuck? I don't want to accept it. And essentially, when the fox jumps from human to human and goes back to the hidden realm when that human goes to sleep, he tells the raven what transpires, what life he's been living as the human. Because when the human is awake, the fox is the human. They do the things the human does. They eat the food the human does. They say the things the human does. Everything. They essentially become the human that they possess, right? So the fox, whenever he returns to the hidden realm within the dreams, he tells the raven essentially what happens, and the ravens are able to prevent a return. So the fox and raven have been working together for hundreds, thousands of years, right? And now Cain knows, but what will happen now that Cain knows? And now we're at part 6, which is Day of the Bear and Day of the Monkey, and I'm super excited to keep on reading because it's starting to get really good, okay? So without any further ado, we're going to get back into the reading. Guys, I love this book. Okay, so let's talk about what I wrote down and then we can talk about the ending. I said that the fox has possessed Cain, right? But the lines are blurring. That's what I wrote down. The fox is not supposed to be awake when Cain is awake, but the lines are blurring. So when Cain is awake, the fox has been partially awake, right? And that's not supposed to happen. When the fox is awake, when Cain is awake, dangerous things can happen. And I was like, wait, Cain is low-key Naruto, like this is the nine-tailed fox. It was just so insane. And then after that, we found out that Ruko has the tiger in him. So it's like everybody has the tiger. Next thing you know, what? Tala, she had the ox. And then we had the biggest plot twist ever, and I'm so mad I didn't record my reaction to it, but again, we thought the Bear Emperor was somebody else. Apparently he is somebody else. This is the one twist that I am not going to spoil. There's another twist, guys, and I genuinely was like, huh? And without spoiling the big twist, if I talk about more, everything else is going to be spoiled, but in a sense, the eight come back and then they are sealed, except for Soul and except for the fox. I don't know how he did it, but he said he's the master of escape, so that's how it was explained, right? And I literally just wrote up, the goat! The fox is the goat, and I just can't wait to see him in the second book. I really enjoyed this. I've been trying to read this for weeks, probably like over a month now, and I'm so glad I read this. Antonia Hudson has made a fan in me. I'm so ready for the next book, whenever that may be. I hope it is soon, but I will be continuing with this series without a doubt. I'm rating this book a 5-star. I enjoyed every page. The characters were so likable. Nima and Cain, and they're like the characters, well, Nima and Cain, they're in their 30s. Like this is the first time like I've read like a fantasy where the characters aren't like freshly like 18, you feel me? So seeing their mature romance was definitely a good, like a breath of fresh air, and I can't wait to see more of them. Like I just love these characters and I love the premise of this book. I love the way the fantasy works in this world. Like it's genuinely so interesting, and I love that Nima is black. Like that's big representation. I will see you today or sometime else to finish with our last book of this video, A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Hello guys, I'm back. So I read 1/3 of the book, so I'm just gonna like say my feelings, but I'm giving this a thumbs up already. Of course, when I want to start talking, my AC system goes off. Anyways, I'm giving this a thumbs up because I really enjoyed this book. Last night, I managed to read like 100 pages. Like I was just going, like, and I just kept pushing my bedtime back just so I could read it. And then today, I managed to get to page 220. So I'm really enjoying this book. Honestly, I could probably finish it today. I can probably finish this today. So that was 2 days of reading. So the first note that I wrote is Feyre, that's the main character. She's the youngest of 3 girls in her family. So there's 3 girls and her father. Unfortunately, Feyre's mother died when she was sick of typhus. Now, Feyre's role in this family is she is basically Cinderella. She hunts for this family, she chops wood for this family, she cleans for this family. She is the sole provider of this family. Her father doesn't do shit. He's basically crippled in the knee, like his knee is basically shattered. He's so lucky to even be walking. The older 2 siblings are so spoiled, so bratty, like they've never had to do anything in their lives essentially. But the reason why she, the youngest child, is taking care of 3 of her family members is because her mother on her deathbed made a vow to Feyre to take care of her family. Why she left it to the youngest child instead of the oldest daughter or even the father? Who knows? Maybe we can find that out. Most of the humans hold resentment towards the Fae because of what they used to do to mortals, which was keep them as slaves, etc., etc. Just what a superior race would do to an inferior race, essentially, if they had the chance to. So as Feyre was hunting in the woods for her family, she came across a wolf, but this wolf didn't look like the regular wolf. So it was actually a fairy. So Feyre, that's gonna be really confusing for me. Feyre actually shot the wolf fairy with a ash arrow, 2 of them, one through the chest and one through the eye, and that killed them because ash is what harms the fairies, not iron as humans were led to think, right? So because of this, Tamlin, the High Lord actually comes to take her. He gives her two choices. One, mauls her to like a ribbon, or two, she comes to live in the fairy world and just live with him forever. Like she's just banished from the human world, and that's her punishment. So obviously, what would you choose? Would you rather die or would you rather go with him, right? Of course, going with him would be scary because right now Tamlin is taking the form of some mythical beast, but I stand just in my decision, right? So the fairy that Feyre actually killed was Andrus, which was Tamlin's friends, the High Lord. And then we actually meet another fairy. His name is Lucian, and I love Lucian. They were all friends, essentially. So basically, Feyre killed these people's friends, and now she's living in their realm. So it's like, you know, you can see the dilemma, right? Basically, there's this curse, there's this blight on the whole race of the Feyre, right? Where they have to wear these masks and they can't take them off no matter how hard they try. These masks cover the majority of their face, like basically a masquerade, right? Like a masquerade ball mask, and they can't take it off. The magic is keeping them from taking it off, and it's also diminishing their powers. So Tamlin, since he's a High Lord, he's basically like Gojo Satoru. I keep saying that for characters, but he basically is. But because of this blight, his powers are diminished, right? When she killed the wolf fairy, it was because Andrus, the wolf fairy that she killed, was sent to the human world to look for a cure, right? For the blight that's having everybody wear these masks. And obviously he wasn't able to do that, right? Because Feyre killed him. And also there are like courts. So now I understand why it says Night Court Edition on the back of my book. It's because there's a night court, there's a day court, there's a dawn court, there's a winter court, an autumn court, a summer court, and a spring court. So 7 courts, right? Tamlin is of the spring. Yes, Tamlin rules the spring. He oversees the spring court. But that's all that I've read. I will continue reading, and I will get back to you guys in a couple of minutes. Okay guys, we are back in business. Just got to 2/3 of the book, and we got some bangers that happened, guys. So we have Feyre and Tamlin. They come to a little bit of an understanding. Like now Feyre doesn't feel like she is a prisoner in Tamlin's court, right? Oh, he takes her to a spot that he used to frequent when he was a little boy. He says, "You're exactly as I dreamed you'd be too." A hashtag. I said, what that mean? What that mean? And then a few pages later, Rhyston comes. And I know who Reese. I know who that is, bro. BookTok will not stop talking about this man. I've never even come across a Sarah J. Maas book, and I know who Reese is, bro. And Feyre was just like describing him as this like seductive, like just like very confident, very sure of himself, and very seductive. And I was like, I know that's right. But then I was like, then Reese just showed his bad side. You know, he gave us a good first impression when he saved Feyre, but this second encounter, terrible impression, bro. He bitched everybody. He bitched Lucian. He bitched Tamlin, bro. He bitched Tamlin so badly that I started to view Tamlin in a different light. Like I literally got the ick because he bitched Tamlin so much. I was like, for real, bro? But no, Reese is biggest of the mamas, bro. He is the birthday cake. Okay, he the birthday girl. He the birthday celebrant, right? So after that happens, I'm like, okay, fuck, whatever. Then we see how dangerous it really is. So Tamlin's like, you know what? If I can't even protect you, why are you even here? Let me send you back. And Feyre goes back, and when Tamlin was talking about taking care of Feyre's family, he meant that shit. Feyre comes back home, her family is rich, bro. No bones on them, like rich. I'm talking like Bridgerton rich, right? So that happens, and then we see, then Feyre, okay, so when Reese came to the manor to threaten Tamlin, Lucian, and her, Feyre gave Reese a fake name, right? Some other family that she thought of went back in her old village. When Feyre comes back, she learns that that whole family and their manor was burned to a crisp. They couldn't even find the bodies. And Feyre's like, She got nauseous. I got nauseous, baby. I was like, this nigga is crazy. And then Feyre was like, yeah, I gotta go back. She goes back. Nobody is in the spring port. Lucien is gone. Tamlin is gone. All the other fairies are gone. Nobody is there. The place is ransacked. Glass everywhere. Blood everywhere. The only person who's there is the servant, Elise, right? And Elise tells her the truth that everybody has been cursed, especially Tamlin. And Tamlin, in order for him to free himself of this curse, he must find a human girl who despises fairies to the very core. This human girl will kill a fairy unprovoked, which Feyre did in the beginning of the book with Andress, the wolf fairy from the beginning of the book. Okay, 2 criteria down. And then Feyre has to say that she loves him. And what did Feyre not do? She didn't. Tamlin sent Feyre away without Feyre ever saying I love you. Tamlin said it like 2-3 times and Feyre never said her back. Tamlin had 3 more days to resolve this, but he sent Feyre back to the human world 3 days before the curse was like the deadline was up. He didn't even try. So now Feyre comes back and is like, no, I have to do right by these people. Like, this is all my fault. Like, I need to do something. Take me to where Amarantha, the one person that they did not name, the she who everybody was afraid of, who was also the High Queen of all of Prythian. It just got deep, guys. It just got deep. It really got deep. And I'm like, damn, like, what the fuck? Anyways, I'm going to keep reading because I need to finish this book. And we need to get into the second one. I pulled away, but his hands were like shackles. I could do nothing as his mouth met with my cheek and he licked away a tear. His tongue was hot against my skin, so startling that I couldn't move as he licked away another path of salt water and then another. Get off me, bro! Get off me! What is going on? Oh my god. Whatever. Bye. Damn, I finished the book, y'all. I was so locked in, like I couldn't even like really write down stuff, but essentially Tam got taken, right, by Amarantha, and to save his life, Feyre either had to solve a riddle to save Tamlin instantly to release the curse, or do 3 trials once per month, right? The first trial is a man-eating worm, and Feyre must survive it, but she hunts the worm and she kills it, her hunter technique. And then the next thing I wrote was, I hate Rhys, ... do I? And then I said, thank you, Lucien's mom. And then Rhys says, you look just as I hoped you would. And then I did hashtag what that mean. And then I got mad because I was like, why does Rhys keep telling her to drink this alcohol if it's literally intoxicating her to a point of near death? Like, she doesn't even, it was just giving me Jeffrey Dahmer. And then I was like, then I just kept seeing similarities between Rhys and Xaden Ryerson, and I was like, so who's reheating whose nachos? And then I didn't even write anything after that. I just chugged through the rest of the book. I genuinely don't see Feyre and Tamlin staying together. Like, there's something completely altered, completely shifted, and this little thing that she's entertaining with Rhys, bro, we already know where it's going. Like, I just wish Tamlin was more, you know what I mean? I wish he wasn't like the sacrifice to get to the real relationship, which I can definitely tell is going to be Feyre and Rhys, because I like Tamlin and I like Lucien, and I don't know if we'll see more of them in the second book, and I don't know how cast aside Tamlin will be. I don't want to see the downfall of the romance. Either way, I'm gonna rate this book a 4 stars. I'm definitely going to be continuing with this series for sure. I was hooked, I was brought in for sure. I swear people like this book. So I will read the second book soon. However soon that soon is, we'll just see, because I have a lot of things I need to read and so little time. But wow, this is the end of the video. Oh my god, I feel like I've been recording this video for like over a week. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed it, let me know, bro. Because I did. I was really glad to finally have these books off of my radar. But thank you guys for joining me on this little journey. I will see you guys in the next video.
Bye.